Spinosaurus' story begins around 100 million years ago during the Cretaceous period, a time when Earth's continents were shifting into something closer to their current positions. As massive rivers snaked through what is now North Africa, Spinosaurus evolved into one of the most unique and specialized predators of all time. This dinosaur was like nothing we'd seen before, a theropod that didn't follow the classic land-based hunter model. Instead, Spinosaurus developed a suite of adaptations that made it particularly suited to life in water, spending much of its life in and around the dense river systems, hunting fish and other aquatic prey. At over 50 feet long, Spinosaurus was larger than even the fearsome Tyrannosaurus rex, but its body was uniquely adapted for a semi-aquatic lifestyle. It had a long, crocodile-like snout lined with conical teeth designed not to crush, but to pierce and hold slippery prey. This structure allowed Spinosaurus to snap up fish with incredible efficiency, giving it a competitive edge in its watery habitat. Its jaws were packed with sensory pores like those of a modern crocodile, which helped it detect vibrations in the water, enabling it to pinpoint the movements of fish or other creatures with uncanny accuracy. One of the most iconic features of Spinosaurus was, of course, the massive sail on its back. This sail, composed of tall neural spines, was a unique feature that has puzzled scientists since it was first discovered. Some paleontologists believe the sail was used for thermoregulation, helping the animal absorb heat more quickly in the cool morning and dissipate it in the hotter afternoons. Others argue that it might have served as a display structure, possibly to attract mates or intimidate rivals. In recent years, though, many scientists believe the sail may have aided with buoyancy and stability while swimming, allowing Spinosaurus to navigate deeper waters more efficiently. This feature made Spinosaurus a remarkable example of evolutionary adaptation to its riverine environment, distinguishing it from all other large theropods. The limbs of Spinosaurus were equally fascinating. Unlike the powerful muscular legs of T-Rex and other giant carnivores, Spinosaurus had relatively short hind limbs, which is one reason why scientists believe it wasn't as fast or agile on land. However, these shorter limbs, along with paddle-like feet, were likely a boon in the water. This dinosaur's body was built for swimming, and scientists suspect it could have used its legs like paddles, propelling itself through the water with surprising grace. Its tail was another curious feature, broad, muscular, and relatively flexible. It likely acted as a powerful rudder, allowing Spinosaurus to maneuver and propel itself with remarkable ease in its watery domain. Altogether, Spinosaurus was an apex predator unlike any other, a fish-eating giant that dominated the ancient waterways. But Spinosaurus's reign over the rivers of North Africa might not have been unchallenged. In recent years, scientists have discovered evidence of a very similar predator that lived alongside Spinosaurus. Known as Sigilmassasaurus, this dinosaur was almost like Spinosaurus's evil twin, a mysterious predator that shared strikingly similar traits. For years, paleontologists debated whether Sigilmassasaurus was actually a distinct species or just another specimen of Spinosaurus. The fossil record was sparse, making it difficult to draw clear conclusions. But as more fossils were unearthed and new techniques allowed scientists to analyze bones more precisely, it became increasingly apparent that Sigilmassasaurus might indeed be a unique creature. The story of Sigilmassasaurus begins with fragments, isolated vertebrae and bones that, for a long time, were dismissed or overlooked as part of Spinosaurus's extensive fossil record. However, these bones didn't quite fit. They showed subtle differences in shape, size, and structure that led some paleontologists to suspect they belonged to a different species. Unlike Spinosaurus, Sigilmassasaurus appears to have had a shorter sail and slightly different limb proportions, suggesting that, while similar, it may have adapted to different niches or even used different hunting tactics. For decades, researchers struggled with the question: was Sigilmassasaurus merely a variation of Spinosaurus, or was it a distinct creature altogether? The problem with answering this question stemmed from the fact that both dinosaurs left behind very few complete skeletons. The fossil evidence was patchy at best, often with only bits and pieces available for study. Adding to the confusion, the remains of Spinosaurus and Sigilmasasaurus were often found in close proximity, which made it difficult to determine which bones belonged to which creature. As scientists continued to examine these fossils, they began to notice that certain vertebrae, particularly those associated with Sigilmasasaurus, were noticeably different from Spinosaurus vertebrae. The subtle variations in vertebrae morphology suggested that Sigilmasasaurus might indeed be a separate species, adapted to the same environment, but perhaps with its own unique role. This sparked excitement and debate within the paleontological community, as Sigilmasasaurus seemed to represent a rare example of niche partitioning, where two very similar species evolved to share an ecosystem by specializing in slightly different ways. Sigilmasasaurus had some anatomical differences that set it apart, though these distinctions were subtle and easily overlooked. Its vertebrae were somewhat more robust, which some scientists believe might indicate a sturdier build. While both Spinosaurus and Sigilmasasaurus likely had similar diets of fish and other aquatic prey, the slight differences in bone structure suggest they may have hunted in different parts of the river or used slightly different techniques. Some scientists hypothesized that Sigilmasasaurus could have been more adept at shallow water hunting, sticking closer to the shore, while Spinosaurus ventured further into deeper waters. This theory, while intriguing, remains speculative due to the limited fossil evidence. The discovery of Sigilmasasaurus introduced an exciting new chapter in our understanding of prehistoric ecosystems. If this dinosaur was indeed a distinct species, then the rivers and swamps of ancient North Africa were not ruled by one dominant predator, but by two closely related and potentially competing giants. This raises tantalizing questions about their interactions. Did Spinosaurus and Sigilmasasaurus directly compete for resources, or did they maintain an uneasy balance, each sticking to its own territory or type of prey? Paleontologists continue to debate these questions, with each new discovery offering potential insights into the rivalry or coexistence of these two colossal creatures. In many ways, Sigilmasasaurus remains an enigma, a dinosaur that almost disappeared into the fossil record as just another Spinosaurus. But as researchers piece together more evidence, Sigilmasasaurus is emerging from the shadow of its better-known cousin, standing as a formidable predator in its own right. If the Spinosaurus had an evil twin, then Sigilmasasaurus was certainly a worthy contender, challenging our assumptions about dinosaur evolution and competition. Comparing Spinosaurus and Sigilmasasaurus opens up a fascinating window into the subtle but significant adaptations that made each of these dinosaurs successful in its unique way. While they were remarkably similar in some respects, each had distinct characteristics that reveal the evolutionary nuances of two predators that might have coexisted, competed, or even occasionally clashed in the same ecosystems. One of the most striking similarities between Spinosaurus and Sigilmasasaurus is their shared adaptation for a semi-aquatic lifestyle. Both creatures exhibit features that suggest a life spent, at least partially, in the water. Spinosaurus is the most famous of the two, primarily because its body seems so uniquely adapted to this lifestyle. Its long, narrow, and crocodile-like snout allowed it to hunt efficiently in the water, snapping up fish and other aquatic prey with its specialized conical teeth. But Sigilmasasaurus too seems to have shared this snout structure, hinting at a similar feeding strategy. The long, slender jaws of both dinosaurs were suited not for crushing, but for grabbing hold of slippery fish and possibly even smaller aquatic animals, enabling them to hunt with precision and efficiency. The sail of Spinosaurus, one of its most iconic features, was massive and is thought to have had multiple functions. Some scientists believe it played a role in thermoregulation, allowing the dinosaur to absorb or release heat as needed. Others argue that it might have been used for display, perhaps to attract mates or intimidate other predators. Still, others believe the sail helped with buoyancy in water, allowing Spinosaurus to float more easily as it hunted. Sigill-Massasaurus, however, is believed to have had a smaller sail if it had one at all. Its back spines, while elongated, do not seem to reach the same towering heights as those of Spinosaurus. This difference could suggest that Sigill-Massasaurus didn't rely on a sail for display or thermoregulation, or that it simply had a different approach to swimming and hunting with less reliance on buoyancy. Another area where these dinosaurs differed lies in their vertebral structure. While both dinosaurs were large and powerful, Sigill-Massasaurus seems to have had slightly more robust vertebrae compared to Spinosaurus. This might imply a sturdier, more compact frame, which some paleontologists suggest could have made Sigill-Massasaurus better suited for hunting in shallower waters closer to shore. The more robust build might have given it an edge in these environments, where the waters were shallower and potentially more turbulent, allowing it to better navigate or even ambush prey in these conditions. Spinosaurus, with its slimmer vertebrae and massive sail, may have been more specialized for deeper waters, navigating the rivers with its buoyant body and strong tail, where it could ambush larger prey or scavenge. The two dinosaurs also show differences in their limb proportions. Spinosaurus had unusually short hind legs for a theropod of its size, which has led scientists to believe that it was not as capable on land as other large carnivores like Tyrannosaurus rex. Its short, paddle-like legs were likely an adaptation for swimming, suggesting that Spinosaurus spent a significant amount of its life in the water. On land, however, these shorter limbs would have limited its speed and agility, making it less suited to chase prey across open terrain. Sigill-Massasaurus, by contrast, might have had slightly longer hind limbs, though this theory remains speculative due to limited fossil evidence. If Sigill-Massasaurus did indeed have longer legs, it could suggest that it was more adapted to move between land and water, allowing it to hunt both in the water and along the riverbanks, where it could chase down smaller prey or scavenge. Tail structure provides another intriguing point of comparison. The tail of Spinosaurus was uniquely broad and muscular, with a flattened shape that likely made it highly effective for propulsion in the water. This tail, when combined with its powerful legs, gave Spinosaurus the ability to maneuver and even hover in deeper water, allowing it to ambush prey with greater ease. Sigill-Massasaurus, on the other hand, may not have had such a specialized tail, though the fossil record is not complete enough to say for certain. If its tail was less paddle-like, it might have been less agile in deeper waters, but possibly more stable in the shallows, where maneuverability was less of a priority. This difference in tail structure could further support the idea that Spinosaurus and Sigill-Massasaurus occupied slightly different ecological niches within the same environment. Both dinosaurs likely had similar diets, dominated by fish and smaller aquatic animals. However, their hunting strategies might have varied slightly based on their physical characteristics. Spinosaurus, with its longer limbs and more buoyant body, may have ventured further into the middle of rivers and lakes, using its keen senses and powerful tail to detect and pursue prey in deeper water. Its long snout and conical teeth allowed it to grab and hold on to fish without breaking them apart, an ideal adaptation for catching slippery prey. Sigill-Massasaurus, meanwhile, with its potentially more robust frame and shallower sail, might have been more suited to stalking prey in shallow water or along the muddy banks. Its more compact body could have given it better control and stability in these environments, where it might have been able to ambush fish or other small animals hiding in the vegetation. The coexistence of Spinosaurus and Sigill-Massasaurus in the same ecosystem raises questions about how they divided their territory and resources. Did they engage in direct competition, or did they adapt to separate niches to avoid conflict? One theory suggests that while both hunted fish, they might have specialized in different types of prey based on their size and hunting methods. Spinosaurus, being larger, could have targeted bigger fish or prey that resided in deeper waters, while Spinosaurus hunted smaller fish or creatures along the river's edge. This kind of niche partitioning is common in modern ecosystems where similar species coexist. For example, in Africa today, we see similar dynamics between different species of big cats, like lions and leopards, which have overlapping territories but hunt different prey to reduce competition. Another possibility is that these dinosaurs only occasionally encountered each other, given the size and complexity of their environment. The ancient river systems of North Africa were vast, providing ample space for two large predators to coexist without frequent conflict. Perhaps Spinosaurus occupied one part of the river, while Spinosaurus stayed closer to the shore, each establishing a territory that allowed them to avoid direct competition. In times of scarcity, however, they might have been forced into closer quarters, leading to potential confrontations over food sources. The differences in their anatomy and adaptations also raise fascinating questions about their behavior and social structure. Spinosaurus's impressive sail might have been used as a display structure, signaling dominance or attracting mates. If this were the case, Spinosaurus could have been a more solitary creature, using its sail to assert its presence and deter rivals. Spinosaurus, lacking such a prominent display feature, may have had a different social structure or relied on more subtle signals to communicate. These behavioral distinctions would have influenced how the two species interacted within their shared ecosystem. In the end, the relationship between Spinosaurus and Spinosaurus remains one of the most intriguing mysteries of the Cretaceous period. While fossil evidence provides clues about their physical differences and potential ecological roles, much of their story is still lost to time. Did they coexist peacefully, each adapting to a unique niche within the same ecosystem? Or did they engage in fierce competition, their interactions shaping the balance of power in ancient North Africa's river systems? The limited fossil record leaves many of these questions unanswered, but each discovery brings us closer to understanding the dynamic, often brutal world these ancient predators inhabited. Their similarities and differences highlight the complexity of prehistoric ecosystems and reveal the intricate ways in which evolution can produce two predators with strikingly similar yet uniquely adapted forms. Life in the prehistoric world was harsh and unforgiving, and for predators like Spinosaurus and Spinosaurus, survival meant constantly adapting to a volatile environment filled with competition, scarce resources, and ever-present threats. These two giants faced a landscape in which food was precious, territory was fiercely contested, and environmental conditions could shift dramatically. While the river systems of North Africa provided a relatively stable and rich habitat, life for these massive predators was far from easy. To survive, they had to be more than just powerful. They had to be adaptable, resourceful, and, at times, ruthless. The competition for food was intense, as the rivers and wetlands they inhabited were a bustling network of creatures vying for sustenance. While fish formed a major part of the diet for both Spinosaurus and Spinosaurus, the availability of fish would have fluctuated with the seasons, droughts, and changes in river flow. During the dry season, water sources would have shrunk, forcing many aquatic animals to gather in smaller areas. This would have drawn both predators and prey into closer proximity, intensifying competition not only between Spinosaurus and Spinosaurus, but also among other animals that shared their ecosystem. Crocodile-like reptiles, large predatory fish, and smaller aquatic predators would have all sought to take advantage of these conditions, creating a densely packed food chain where each predator had to fight for survival. To deal with these fluctuations, Spinosaurus likely relied on its remarkable adaptations for swimming and hunting in deep water. In deeper river channels or larger lakes, Spinosaurus could pursue fish and other prey with greater freedom, using its powerful tail for propulsion and its highly developed sensory capabilities to detect movements in the water. However, during times of drought, it may have been forced into shallower waters, where it faced competition not only from Spinosaurus, but also from a range of other animals, from large predatory fish to crocodilians. This crowded environment would have heightened the stakes, and Spinosaurus may have had to adapt its hunting strategies, perhaps relying more on stealth or ambush tactics in areas where it couldn't rely on its usual deep water advantage. Sigilomastosaurus, with its likely more compact and robust body, may have been better suited to these challenging conditions in the shallows. If it was indeed more at home along the riverbanks and in shallow water, it could have adapted to hunt in areas where Spinosaurus was less comfortable, allowing it to capture fish and other smaller prey in environments that Spinosaurus avoided. However, as water levels dropped and prey became scarce, Sigilomastosaurus would have also faced increased pressure. In some cases, it may have been forced to scavenge for food, seeking out the remains of dead animals or preying on smaller, weaker animals that were struggling to survive the harsher conditions. This could have led to encounters with Spinosaurus, especially if both dinosaurs found themselves drawn to the same dwindling water sources, resulting in tense standoffs or outright clashes over territory. The competition for territory was just as fierce as the battle for food. The river systems of North Africa, while extensive, had limited prime hunting grounds, especially during times when water levels dropped and prey became concentrated in certain areas. For large predators like Spinosaurus and Sigilomastosaurus, establishing and defending territory was crucial for survival. A stable territory not only provided access to food, but also helped minimize conflicts with other predators. Spinosaurus, with its larger size and intimidating sail, may have used visual displays to assert dominance, warning other creatures to keep their distance. Its sail, standing tall like a flag, could have served as a clear marker of territory, allowing it to intimidate rivals or signal its presence to potential threats. Sigilomastosaurus, lacking the same towering sail, may have had a different approach to establishing territory. Without the dramatic display of Spinosaurus, it might have relied more on physical confrontations or vocalizations to assert its dominance over a particular area. It may have used its size and strength in more direct ways, engaging in physical displays or even clashes with rivals when necessary. Given the close quarters of their habitat, these two predators likely crossed paths frequently, each having to assert its dominance and secure the best hunting grounds to ensure survival. Environmental challenges were also a constant threat. The climate of prehistoric North Africa was unpredictable, with seasonal rains and prolonged droughts creating a constantly shifting environment. During the rainy season, rivers and lakes would swell, offering abundant food and more space for Spinosaurus and Sigilomastosaurus to spread out. In these conditions, each predator might have thrived in its own niche, with Spinosaurus venturing into the deeper waters and Sigilomastosaurus sticking closer to the banks. However, during times of drought, water sources would dry up, forcing both predators into closer quarters. These environmental stresses not only intensified competition, but also placed additional pressure on each species to adapt to changing conditions. For Spinosaurus, droughts presented a unique challenge, as its semi-aquatic lifestyle required access to substantial water sources. Without the deep rivers and lakes it was accustomed to, Spinosaurus may have struggled to find adequate food, forcing it into unfamiliar or hostile territories. It may have had to travel greater distances in search of water, which would have exposed it to new dangers and increased the risk of encounters with other predators, including Sigilomastosaurus. To survive these difficult conditions, Spinosaurus might have adapted by expanding its diet, possibly scavenging more frequently or even preying on terrestrial animals, though its body was not ideally suited for this. Sigilomastosaurus, potentially more adept at navigating shallow waters, might have had an advantage during droughts, able to adapt more readily to the shrinking rivers and lakes. If it was indeed more comfortable in the shallows, it could have exploited prey along the drying riverbanks, where fish and other aquatic animals became trapped in isolated pools. This ability to thrive in shallower water could have given Sigilomastosaurus an edge over Spinosaurus in these conditions, allowing it to hunt more effectively and access food sources that were less available to its rival. Beyond competition with each other, both Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus faced threats from other predators in their environment. Ancient North Africa was home to a wide array of carnivorous dinosaurs, each of which occupied a unique niche within the ecosystem. Smaller predators might have targeted the young or injured, while larger carnivores could have posed a direct threat. Additionally, giant crocodile-like reptiles, which could grow to immense sizes, were formidable adversaries that could easily challenge Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus, especially in the water where these reptiles had the advantage of speed and maneuverability. These other predators would have been a constant danger, forcing Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus to remain vigilant and assertive to protect their territory and food sources. Despite their power, these dinosaurs were also vulnerable to the natural hazards of their environment. Disease, injury, and the threat of starvation were ever-present risks, especially for such large animals that required substantial amounts of food to survive. A broken limb or an infection could mean the difference between life and death, rendering a predator unable to hunt or defend itself. For Spinosaurus, an injury that hindered its swimming abilities would have been particularly devastating, while Sigelmassasaurus would have struggled if it was forced to retreat from its familiar shallows. Both dinosaurs had to navigate these risks carefully, constantly adapting to ensure they could survive the challenges of their world. Yet, despite the challenges they faced, Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus were remarkable survivors, each finely tuned by evolution to thrive in an environment that was both hostile and bountiful. Their adaptations allowed them to exploit the unique resources of North Africa's river systems, carving out niches that enabled them to coexist, if not peacefully, then at least in a delicate balance. The story of their survival is one of resilience and adaptability, showcasing the incredible power of evolution to shape creatures capable of navigating even the harshest conditions. Whether through rivalry, territorial battles, or simply by outlasting the competition, Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus emerged as two of the dominant predators of their time, each playing a vital role in the complex web of life that defined the prehistoric ecosystems of North Africa. In the end, survival for Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus was about more than just brute strength or size. It was about the constant push and pull between adaptation and environment, predator and prey, scarcity and abundance. Each had to evolve in response to the challenges around them, honing their unique traits and capabilities to fit the ever-changing landscape of their world. Their story is a testament to the fierce competition and unyielding determination that defined life in the age of dinosaurs, revealing a world where only the most adaptable and resilient could endure. The legacy of Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus, two giants of the Spinosauridae family, continues to captivate scientists and enthusiasts alike, offering insights into a lineage of dinosaurs that defied expectations. Unlike the land-dominant giants typically associated with theropods, members of the Spinosauridae family carved out a different evolutionary path, uniquely adapted to a life that bridged the terrestrial and aquatic realms. This dual existence pushed Spinosaurids into evolutionary niches that few other dinosaurs occupied, leading to a suite of features that set them apart from other predatory dinosaurs. The rivalry, or coexistence, between Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus adds a layer of complexity to our understanding of Spinosaurids, showcasing not just their adaptability, but also the intricate relationships that shaped prehistoric ecosystems. Spinosaurus, as the largest known spinosaurid, serves as an iconic example of this family's distinctive evolutionary trajectory. Its discovery marked a turning point in paleontology, as it challenged conventional ideas about what theropods could look like and how they could behave. With its crocodile-like jaws, conical teeth, sail-like structure, and unusually short hind limbs, Spinosaurus stood in stark contrast to the classic image of the theropod. Unlike Tyrannosaurus rex or Allosaurus, Spinosaurus wasn't built to dominate dry land. It was a creature of the water, a hunter that thrived in rivers and swamps rather than open plains or forests. This semi-aquatic lifestyle was a bold divergence in theropod evolution, one that highlighted the adaptability of dinosaurs and their capacity to explore and exploit a variety of ecosystems. But Spinosaurus didn't exist in isolation. Sigelmassasaurus, potentially its closest relative, illustrates the diversity within the Spinosauridae family and hints at a lineage that was far more varied than initially believed. Sigelmassasaurus may have been slightly smaller and possibly adapted to a different ecological role within the same environment. Its slightly more robust build and shorter back spines suggest a creature that could have specialized in shallower waters or riverbanks, where it may have hunted smaller prey or scavenged more frequently. These subtle differences remind us that even within a single family, evolutionary pressures can lead to unique adaptations, allowing related species to share overlapping habitats by evolving different behaviors, body shapes, or dietary preferences. The Spinosauridae family likely emerged during the early Cretaceous, a time when continents were separating, climates were changing, and new ecosystems were emerging. The fossil record of Spinosaurids is sparse, with fragments scattered across various regions, but the evidence we do have suggests that these dinosaurs were widely distributed, with fossils found in Africa, Europe, South America, and even parts of Asia. This global presence speaks to the adaptability of Spinosaurids and their ability to survive in diverse environments. The success of Spinosaurids may have been rooted in their unique morphology, which allowed them to occupy ecological niches that other theropods could not. By embracing a semi-aquatic lifestyle, Spinosaurids could access food sources unavailable to land-dwelling predators, giving them a competitive edge in ecosystems where resources were often limited. Over time, however, changes in climate and geography likely altered the habitats that Spinosaurids depended on. The Cretaceous period was marked by significant fluctuations in sea levels and climate, with many regions experiencing cycles of flooding and drying. These environmental shifts would have had a profound impact on Spinosaurids, particularly if they relied heavily on aquatic habitats for hunting. As water sources changed, dried up, or became inaccessible, Spinosaurids would have faced increasing pressure to adapt or move to new areas. These challenges could have led to the eventual decline of Spinosaurids, as they struggled to maintain their populations in environments that were no longer as hospitable. The rivalry or interaction between Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus is a fascinating example of how closely related species can develop overlapping yet distinct roles within the same ecosystem. This phenomenon, known as niche partitioning, is observed in modern ecosystems, where similar species evolve to exploit different resources or habitats, reducing direct competition. In the case of Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus, niche partitioning may have allowed them to coexist without direct competition for the same resources. Spinosaurus, with its adaptations for deep water hunting, might have specialized in larger fish or aquatic prey, while Sigelmassasaurus could have focused on smaller animals or even scavenged along the riverbanks. This subtle division of ecological roles would have allowed both dinosaurs to thrive in the same environment, illustrating the adaptability and resilience of the Spinosauridae family. The legacy of the Spinosauridae family extends beyond its individual members. These dinosaurs have reshaped our understanding of theropod evolution, proving that even within a group known for its dominance on land, there was room for diversity and experimentation. Spinosaurids challenged the idea that all theropods were strictly land-based predators and revealed the potential for evolutionary versatility within the dinosaur kingdom. Their success in adapting to a semi-aquatic lifestyle opens up new questions about how other dinosaur families may have similarly explored unique niches or adapted to specialized habitats. In this sense, Spinosaurus and its relatives have paved the way for a more nuanced understanding of dinosaur ecology, highlighting the vast diversity that once existed within even the most well-known groups. One of the most significant aspects of the Spinosauridae legacy is the impact these dinosaurs have had on the field of paleontology itself. The discovery and subsequent study of spinosaurids have led to advancements in fossil analysis, biomechanics, and even the methods used to reconstruct extinct animals. Spinosaurus, in particular, has been the subject of numerous studies aimed at understanding how its body functioned in water, how it hunted, and how it may have moved on land. These studies have inspired scientists to revisit the fossils of other dinosaurs, leading to new insights and hypotheses about dinosaur behavior and ecology. Spinosaurus, in its own way, has become a catalyst for scientific exploration, encouraging paleontologists to think beyond traditional assumptions and explore new ideas about what dinosaurs could do and how they lived. The allure of Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus extends beyond the scientific community. These dinosaurs have captivated the public imagination and become cultural icons. Their unique appearance and intriguing behaviors make them stand out among other dinosaurs, capturing the interest of people of all ages. Spinosaurus, with its towering sail and crocodile-like snout, has become a favorite subject in movies, documentaries, and books, inspiring a new generation to take an interest in paleontology and the ancient world. The mystery of its semi-aquatic lifestyle and the possibility of a rivalry with Sigelmassasaurus add a layer of drama and intrigue that appeals to our fascination with ancient predators and their untold stories. Despite their disappearance, the story of Spinosaurus, Sigelmassasaurus, and the broader Spinosauridae family continues to evolve. New fossil discoveries, advances in technology, and novel research methods are constantly shedding light on these enigmatic dinosaurs, revealing details about their lives, their adaptations, and the challenges they faced. The legacy of Spinosaurids is a dynamic one, reflecting not only the lives of these ancient animals, but also the ongoing journey of discovery that defines paleontology. Every new fossil, every fresh insight adds another chapter to the story of Spinosaurus and its evil twin, illustrating the enduring appeal of these extraordinary creatures. Ultimately, the legacy of Spinosaurus and Sigelmassasaurus is one of resilience, adaptation, and exploration. Their unique adaptations to a semi-aquatic lifestyle showcase the diversity and ingenuity of the dinosaur kingdom, while their interactions offer a glimpse into the complex dynamics that shaped prehistoric ecosystems. As symbols of evolutionary experimentation, these spinosaurids remind us that life's potential for innovation is boundless, capable of producing forms and behaviors that stretch our understanding of the natural world. They stand as a testament to the power of evolution to create creatures as awe-inspiring as they are mysterious. Creatures whose legacy continues to shape our understanding of Earth's ancient past and the forces that drive life to adapt and endure.